In a studio
That's what people
that's
want to see.
in a basement comes the epic story
Yeah.
of how two friends
And
changed
people-
the future of
people
the
do
movie
pay you just
podcast
off
game
camera.
forever.
You go to the
reviews
park
are in.
sometimes. You go to
Boys
the
Life magazine
park.
gives the high
People
side
meet you at the
podcast
park.
4.5
Truck stops once in a
acorns.
while.
The Daily Bugle.
You're all
says
over the place.
these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still
Never
back.
heard of
And
her.
the guy who can name all four
hours and 11
Baldwin
minutes.
brothers.
What a movie.
Alec,
It was long.
William,
It was.
Daniel, and the baby boy, Steven.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
We gotta start. This has gotta get us in the mood. Little OG Godzilla.
Hey, bluest or cold? Godzilla. Ooh,
That's
okay.
where it's at. That's where it's at right there.
I'm feeling this. I'm
Yes,
feeling
sir.
this.
Yes, sir. That's the hype. He's gotta go, 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 Godzilla.
Godzilla. Let's go. This is karaoke night.
There
Are
you
you
go.
fucking kidding me or what?
Well, Mason, he has risen. The one true God.
The one true God of them all.
He has returned
Godzilla.
to bring us balance. And Mason, did
It's
it
not
pay
the-
off?
It did.
Did it?
Pay
Was
off.
it the-
He brought balance not only to life on Earth,
Was the God
but
coming-
also the Force.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course. Right.
Of course, the Force, of course.
Yes.
But yeah, the man himself is back. The God,
He
the
is.
true King of the monsters, Godzilla.
Godzilla.
King of
Yeah.
the monsters.
Yep.
Go, go, Godzilla.
Yep. Go, go, Godzilla.
He
I love this
fucking-
song.
he
This
hates-
is a fun song.
Oh, it's a great
I don't
song.
care where
It's
you
a
at,
great song.
where you are in life. This is a fun song. Bottom line, look at Godzilla. He's huge. They're firing tanks. He says, "Fuck that shit." He's laughing.
And there's a guy
He's
in
ha-
that suit.
Yeah, he's having a good time.
He's actually being shot.
Yeah, he is. It's a miserable experience, but you know what? That's what they did in the 80s. Is
So
you
in
had
the
to survive.
50s, and that suit got up to 140 degrees.
Yeah, no, it's hot.
The actor
It's
inside
not
could only
cold.
stay in for 3 minutes at a time
That is
because of that
insane.
thick latex. 140 degrees. You'd lose a lot of weight.
You would lose a lot of weight, and you'd lose a lot of.
Yeah. But Godzilla, he hates Tokyo.
He does.
He fucking
not
hates
a
that
fan.
city.
Not a fan of Japan. Not a
If
fan.
there's a
of Japan.
racist here,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's Godzilla.
it is Godzilla.
Bottom line, it's Godzilla.
He's leveled
he's
that
a racist.
city
Yeah.
more times than once.
Not a fan.
But well, why are we talking about this old?
Why are we
goddamn
talking about
lizard?
Godzilla?
That old
I don't know.
radiated
Why are we
lizard.
talking about him? I think we're talking about him because it's Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Yes, sir.
Is upon us.
The movie, it's finally here. The sequel to the 2014
Yes.
Godzilla. The sequel, the spiritual sequel to Kong,
Kong,
Skull Island,
which was great.
and the
I liked.
predecessor to Godzilla
Whoa.
vs Kong.
Right.
That is coming out
Next year.
next year.
In April.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a big event, Mason.
It is.
He's fighting everyone in this.
This monster universe is not fucking around.
No,
Gosh.
they went.
No, it's not.
After that first movie, they said, I can only imagine the boardroom meeting. 9
Well-
guys, one guy rips just the fattest rail of cocaine.
Oh, of course.
He says,
and he's like,
he
I'm
says,
ready to
Here's a fucking
go."
idea, you nerds.
You fucking nerd.
You guys are thinking about what bad guy. Let's just have them all in there.
Why not?
And then he slaps the secretary's ass, which is not acceptable now.
It's not acceptable, but he did
But this
nonetheless
is
because he
Hollywood.
is railed on
This
coke.
is Hollywood.
Right, of
And he
course.
says, let's just fucking do it all. Let's just do it all. Like
Let's
I'm
do
doing
it.
all this coke. Let's put every monster that's ever been in any Godzilla movie in one movie. And they fucking did it.
And they did, yeah.
They did it. But did they pull it off, Mason Knight? That's why
Man,
we're
I
here.
gotta say, if I'm watching a Godzilla movie, Cash, this is the rare exception in my life where I go, okay, This is astronomical. This is a beast among all beasts. This Godzilla is so giant in its approach that I'm willing to have some leeway on what the storyline actually will be, right? So I look at this movie, and overall, you look at the monsters and you go, the fight scenes in this movie were fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where you stand on Godzilla in the King of Monsters, but as far as the actual monster fight scenes, they were badass. I love them.
Yeah.
I thought they were fucking cool.
A lot of people are, if you're going in this movie for the human drama, you're probably not going to see the right movie.
But that is to be expected.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Godzilla.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah, so if you're going in there to think you're going to get a great story
Academy Award
about
winning
humans,
drama.
then no, you're
not
probably
gonna
not, and that's not what I expect. That's not what you should expect either
No.
going into. You're going in to see Godzilla kick ass and save the goddamn world, and that's what we need as humans.
That's who we need
as
is
mankind.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
We may not like it. We may not like that big
the fact that
big
he's
lizard son of a
destroying
bitch.
half the city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He does not care for.
He doesn't give a fuck about Fenway Park either.
No, he hates them.
No.
Oh, clearly
not
a Yankees
not
fan.
a Red Sox
Clearly
fan
a
at all.
Yankees fan.
Clearly. I'm shocked he wasn't wearing a giant Godzilla Yankees hat while destroying the whole state of Massachusetts.
But you're exactly right. This is what I want to see when I go and see Godzilla. And I love the design they kept with the old Godzilla and still made it modern. He's a chunky boy.
I
He's
love it, though,
thick.
because it looks
He's
like a
TH.
good Godzilla.
Exactly,
It looks like Godzilla, but updated to 2019, where that's how Godzilla would actually look to us.
But not
that's
only
why
that,
it looks so good.
But everything else looked great, too.
Right, of course.
King Ghidorah looked fucking amazing.
Awesome.
I love the movements, the design, the way you kind of move like a rattlesnake. He even had the rattle at one point, and I love the move. And Rodan and Mothra. I mean, talk about the human drama. I didn't give a shit because I didn't expect to, but I cared about Mothra.
Of course.
I cared about Mothra. And we
And
won't get into it yet,
yeah,
but if I was going to
yeah,
cry, I was going to cry.
That was when I was going to, because I thought it was the ultimate device.
Yeah,
and I was like,
exactly.
man, that's sad.
That beautiful big butterfly bitch.
Yeah,
beautiful
that fucking
woman.
moth
Beautiful
thing.
woman.
I don't know.
Powerful.
Butterfly, whatever it is.
Beautiful, whatever she is.
It's a great creature.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Well, let's get into it. This movie is directed by Michael Dougherty. You might know him from Krampus.
Yes.
He does one of my favorite Halloween movies, Trick or Treat. I love him.
That's
He's a great director.
film. Yeah.
But and he wrote and directed this. It's a story by Max Bronstein, but it's starring pretty much everyone. Everyone that you would, want to see, I think, in a monster movie, right? It's got Vera Farmiga in it. She's starring as the titular Dr. Emma Russell.
And very famous in the Conjuring franchise
Of course, yeah. And she
now.
plays Norman Bates' mother in
Correct.
Bates Motel.
In Bates Motel.
You got Kyle Chandler in there as Dr. Mark Russell.
Which was
He's
also
been in a ton of
awesome
stuff. Yeah.
in Bloodline.
Millie Bobby Brown.
Stranger Things.
Great in
of course.
Stranger Things, and she's great in this. I think she's becoming a scream queen, if you will.
Definitely.
Kind of like what's her name from Halloween, the woman that you would very much like to have dinner with.
Ooh, yes,
Yeah.
yes, Jamie Lee Curtis.
She's becoming of the go-to scream queen. It's got Sally Hawkins in from one of my favorite movies,
The Shape of Water.
Shape of Water.
Now, I went to go see this, and I have to bring this up on the podcast because I was like, man, she looks familiar. Where does she look familiar from?
Yeah, man,
My
I knew
sister
immediately.
leans over. I know. And normally I do immediately, but I was recognizing everyone else from everything else, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, where is she from? And Mikaylee leans over and she's like, Shape of Water.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
like, oh, good shit, Mikaylee. I gave her knuckles. I was like, hey, there you go.
Yeah.
So she's up on the game.
And she's got she's there.
She is.
She's a dedicated
Sally
listener
Hawkins,
right here. Yeah. But yeah, and it's got Thomas Middleditch from Silicon Valley, little comedy, little comic relief in there. O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's son.
Right.
Who looks more like Ice Cube than Ice Cube
anyone
does.
else. Yeah, exactly.
And of course, which the movie wouldn't be Godzilla without Ken Watanabe. Of course, if you're gonna have him in anything Japanese, you gotta have Ken Watanabe,
You
who's
have to.
amazing. Of course, and one of my favorite is
Transformers: The Last Night.
yes, exactly.
Yes, of course. One of your
He stole
favorites
the
of all
show.
time.
But he's awesome in Inception. He's awesome in what's the samurai one with Tom
The
Cruise?
Last
The
Samurai.
Last Samurai, which is probably the
Yes.
first thing I saw him in.
Fantastic film.
But
2000. Yes.
he's amazing in this, and he definitely steals the show as far as humans go in War of Monsters. Would you agree?
Oh, for sure.
His
Yeah.
performance was amazing, and yeah, so it's got pretty much fucking everyone in it. I mean, there's a lot of people in this movie,
There
and
are.
of course, and don't forget, we can't forget the bad guy in it. Which, if you're gonna have a bad guy,
There's no one better than Tywin Lannister.
yeah,
Is there?
you might as well get the British bad guy
Yes.
with what's his real name?
Charles Dance.
Charles Dance,
Yes.
of course, yeah, Charles Dance. You can't go wrong with
No,
Charles
you
Dance because he
cannot,
just
no.
looks like he's mad all
He
the time.
does all the time.
There's
he looks
something
pissed.
he's very
Even when
angry
he's
about.
happy, he's pissed.
And in this one, he's mad about the environment.
He is.
Which
He
is-
is an environmentalist.
He's an environmental terrorist.
A terrorist.
Which is nothing
yes.
scary.
It's not good.
A little Godzilla, the synopsis, which you probably don't need to know, but because it's Godzilla fighting
Oh no,
monsters.
I want to know. That's the thing, Cash.
The
I want
heroic
to know.
efforts of the crypto-zoology agency Monarch as its members face off against a battery of god-sized monsters, including the mighty Godzilla, who collides with Mothra, Rodan, and his ultimate nemesis, the three-headed King Ghidorah.
You know what? I've heard he is not from this world.
You know what? He's not.
Is that true? Is that rumor true?
And he's not the rightful king.
He isn't.
No, he's not. He's not from this goddamn world.
No, he's
and
not. He is an
and he hasn't
alien.
been in any of the Godzillas. He's always come from
hasn't.
space, and I love the way they work that end.
Yeah,
which
so did
this
I.
one
I
does.
actually liked it.
This movie, what I really liked about this movie is if you're a huge Godzilla fan, you can go in there, and if you've seen all the old ones, you can go in there, and it's going to give you something for even those old fans. And it's also going to give you, if you don't know anything about Godzilla, and you just want to go in there and see an awesome movie where Godzilla just kicks ass, it's going to give you something for that too.
Oh, of course.
So what I thought what they did such a good job is it had a little bit for everything. It's got a ton of callbacks to the original. It's got a ton of them with Ghidorah and with everything in space, and but we'll get into it. So it opens up with Farrah Farmiga, right? And she's in the crater. Oh, well, first it opens up and we get that sweet, sweet scream right after the bat. That sweet Godzilla scream.
Yes.
There's nothing. And
Nothing more satisfying to the ears.
did you go and see it in a?
GXL, you betcha. And I was fucking front row.
Yeah,
I'm talking like rail front row.
yeah. And I don't know why you're so close.
You know, it's
You don't
it's
need to be that
experience.
close. You don't need to be. I mean, the speakers are the same everywhere.
They are.
But I went to the Adobe, and it blasted me.
It did,
It fucking
yeah.
blasted me. But yeah, that first scream was amazing. But
It
we
was
get,
great. I saw it in the GXL too. I don't know
I.
about Adobe Atmos, but it
Yeah.
was GXL.
but
so.
paleobiologist Emma Russell is working with cryptozoologist organization Monarch, and Monarch is the people in all of them.
The Fight the Titans.
And let me tell you, the
they're
budget
separate-
they must have
Oh
Monarch.
my God, it's crazy. And they're separate than the government. Right?
much
So
money
they're
are they
separate than the
spending?
military. So it's like, where are you getting your funding from? That's the first
They have
question I would
underground
ask.
bases everywhere, and they're
Everywhere.
like
I'm like,
cities.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ! Like,
And the
how
ships
much are you spending?
and the
How are you
planes are
funding
flying on.
this?
Yeah,
It's insane.
in this
They're
money.
not government funded.
No, they're not. But
No.
again, they're this ancient organization, right? They've been there from the very beginning, tracking these monsters, and we find out that they have fucking monsters everywhere that they
Everywhere.
think they have under control. There's monsters They say they have 17 is what we
17,
find out.
yep.
Yeah, and we get that first clip.
And they
with,
label them by numbers, and that's it.
yes, they do, absolutely. And we get that first clip, and we get the kind of backstory with Farrah Farmiga. She lost her son in the first Godzilla attack.
2014
Yeah,
in
in
the
San
whole
Francisco.
first one.
Yeah.
Yep. Very sad.
And and then current day, she's tracking and studying Titans.
And it doesn't look like her and her husband have a very good relationship.
No, we
by
find
any
out they
means.
don't.
Yeah,
he
they
hit the
don't.
bottle pretty hard.
Yeah.
Which you're
You
going
hit the bottle, which naturally you're going to if you lose your firstborn son.
especially when you lose him to a giant lizard
Right, of course.
attacking.
And then
the town,
second
'cause
off,
you never think that's
haven't
gonna
seen
happen.
your fucking family in 5 years. 'cause
Not
he's
only that,
traveling
but they
all
were
the time.
working for the organization
They
at the
were.
time,
Both of them
tracking
were.
these
Yep.
monsters.
They were
They kinda
working
had to
for
come out.
Monarch.
Not great parents because they bring their kids to every event.
Not the wisest move. If I'm a parent, I go, I'm going to shelter you a little bit from this fuckery that's taking place in this alternative
Well, I'm not going to take you
universe.
down to the larva of the monster.
No, I don't think that's a wise
I'm
decision,
going to leave you up
Cash.
there. I'm going to leave you at home for this one.
Vera Farmiga, she's probably in her 30s. You figure as a
Older,
30-year-old
much older.
mother. Really? God damn, she looks great.
She
looks
yeah, maybe late
great.
30s probably. Maybe late 30s. Yeah.
Nonetheless, she's an adult. She's a good parent.
Yeah.
You would think. But then she brings her daughter to every event, and you're like, what are you doing? These are giant monsters that can kill you.
Yeah, she's not.
They can eat you
and
alive.
that's not great.
Terrible
Not good
parenting.
parenting. No, and that's maybe what was where the start of the weakness of the writing with the humans.
I would say,
with that part.
yes.
But
The fact
yeah,
that you would just let your daughter in front of a giant Mothra.
exactly.
It's like, what?
And
what are we doing here?
so we find out her daughter is Madison, played by Millie Bobby Brown.
Right.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
They kind of have a strained relationship. She hasn't seen her dad in a long time.
No.
They're kind of emailing back and forth.
And we see that in the very
We
beginning.
see
where
right at the
she
start she's about to
emails,
say, she says mom's losing her
worrying
shit.
Me.
Yeah. She's never
That's
wanted,
rough.
not an email you want to get.
Not good. No, never the email you're expecting to get either.
But right before she can send that, Emma, the Vera Farmiga, walks
Yes.
back in and she can't send it.
Right.
So she ends up closing her laptop. She doesn't want to see.
She's like, what are you working on? Oh, homework?
Yeah, exactly. And she knows she's lying
Classic.
immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, horrible liar. But well, immediately they a big earthquake happens and they find out that
They're in China.
yeah, they are in China. They're in like the forest or something, and they're right outside of the fucking Mothra lair. She's a baby, a little larva,
Yeah, she is.
and she's about to hatch. That
She
big
is.
bitch is about to come out.
She is trying to come out under any circumstance.
she
She's
comes
not
out-
staying in there any longer.
Yeah, and immediately, of course, another part that I thought was kind of cheesy was remember she starts waking up and the containment goes wrong, right? And the guy immediately turns
course.
around and goes, "I think this is someone else."
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
Like, why?
Why? Why do you immediately think it's someone else?
I know.
Is it no malfunction whatsoever? You just
yeah.
immediately jump to the assumption that it's someone else?
Yeah, so that was kind of the weak writing is
Of
what they're
course,
talking about
yeah.
with like show not tell.
But Cash, this is one of the rare exceptions where I'm like, okay, it's fine.
exactly,
I
and
don't
I
care,
think
'cause it's
from this moment
Godzilla.
on, it gets better.
It does.
Like
yeah.
it starts out with that, but it still starts out awesome because Mothra comes out and she's pissed,
Oh, she's not happy.
she's not hungry.
No.
and we find out that
She kills a few of them too.
we find out that
actually.
the scientist Emma is making this this machine that kind of speaks to him and calms him down. It's like a combination of all their calls.
to get the frequency right. So it's like
Yeah.
the alpha male call.
Exactly.
Or the alpha,
and that's what
whatever
Emma
call.
has been developing her entire life, or since her son has died. She's been dedicated to that. So she finally, it's called the Orca.
Orca.
Because originally it was supposed to call orcas. Remember, because they were like finding whales or some
Yeah,
shit
I
before
guess,
this. I don't
yeah.
know. Anyways, yeah, so they end up doing that, and she ends up calming Mothra, right?
Mhm.
Because she does spider web a couple people first.
Of course.
And she's just a little baby at this point. She's not even got her wings.
Well, could you imagine being born and then having everyone hold guns at you right away? I'd be
Yeah.
a little terrified too.
Exactly.
I
But
can see where Mothra's coming from.
it gets right into it, and I love the world of how a million or well, how many ever years ago, the entire civilization was based around praying to these
Yeah, yeah.
giant gods, and how each kind of country had their god. I mean, it had one like in China they prayed to Mothra, and that's what they figure out is they for years and years they've always like literally prayed to him as gods. And then we kind of find out later on that Godzilla kind of had like Atlantis, I guess it was,
At one
underwater.
point, yeah, underwater.
Because it's sunk
yeah.
into the earth and the hollow earth, and kind of get into that also. But I love the world building and how Monarch's been there forever, tracking all these creatures,
Exactly.
and how finally it's time that they're waking up. It's time. So they calm Mothra down, but who crashes the party? But our eco-terrorist friends, and
Yes.
they kill everyone.
Yes.
They go in there, a clean,
Charles Dance, Tywin Lannister,
yeah,
if you will.
and they go in there and they kill everyone, and they take.
Everyone. They even shot that scientist cold-blooded.
They did. They're
right in the head.
eco-terrorists.
He looked him right in the head, right in the eyes, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, bud,
Which was a cool shot too when
it's
the
over."
glass broke
Yeah, the
out,
glass
yeah.
broke after the fact that the bullet passed his skull.
And that was after
region.
that Madison just ran out there again.
And no one was like, "Hey, this is not
No.
a good idea. We shouldn't have this 11-year-old girl running out here, gonna get eaten by a giant monster."
Yeah,
But
well,
nonetheless, it happened.
no one's going out there
No.
to help her because no one wants to risk that.
No one wants to risk their.
But eventually, they get Mothra to calm down, and she
Mhm.
starts soothing her. And but the terrorists come in, they
Through
start
the
going
alpha
crazy.
frequency.
Yeah, and they
Yeah.
start going crazy again. And eventually, she gets out, and she goes under the waterfall. Mothra does, and they start cocooning.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
But Emma and her daughter are taken by the eco-terrorist, by Tywin Lannister himself,
Yes,
against
that
their
bastard.
will. Against their
Yes,
will.
of course, always against the will.
Yeah, and but we find out that Emma's husband Mark, who's played by the guy
Kyle.
from exactly, Kyle Chandler. He's out and he's taking pictures of like wolves or some shit out in Montana.
I don't know.
That's what he
Listen
does now.
to like noises too. I don't know.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Doing some weird.
Yeah,
shit.
he's like he loves the noise of wolves
Yeah.
or something. That like calms him down. He used to be an alcoholic. That's when we learned that, and that's when they ended up kind of getting divorced or whatever. He hit
Right.
the bottle.
Yep.
Which again, that will happen.
Yeah, it does
That will
happen.
happen
Especially when your son dies.
Yeah,
you
killed
know.
by a giant fucking.
Lizard thing.
But they go to him and tell him that in a kind of Jurassic Park-esque way of, they land a helicopter right in the fucking middle of his work. Like, remember in Jurassic Park when they land right in the middle of the dig?
Of this, yeah, and you're like, huh? Like what? It's probably
years
some
of work.
plot.
I know.
Yeah. What's
But they
going on here?
scare away his wolves and everything, and they land right in and they tell him that his wife has been taken. Of course, he's freaking out. He really
he's
does
not
care.
happy.
Yeah,
No.
and they also tell him that they've been they also tell him that they've been tracking Godzilla, right? And that they have this this fucking awesome base that's like out in the middle of the ocean. You can go through like an oil tanker. It's super far down and it's like in a cave. It's super cool.
Oh,
It's
super
the kind of
legit.
base you
Yeah,
want if you're hunting.
definitely.
But they say that they've been
It's
tracking
like end of the world kind of base.
Yeah. But they say that they've been tracking Godzilla, and and they say that right when
through like the sonar system.
Yeah. And right when of course Mark comes, Godzilla fucking comes also, and he comes in because he's getting riled up. He knows something going on.
He's getting pissed.
Yeah, and they kind of say, oh fuck, he's because he comes right towards them. Remember?
Right, and then they open the barriers.
Yeah, and that scared the
They
shit out of me in the
dismantle the
theater
guns.
when he fucking screamed. I did
Yeah,
not.
when he came across the screen.
Yeah.
My sister, I thought she shit herself, like physically shit herself, because
It was so loud though when he screamed because remember they're freaking out because his heart.
I expected it though.
Because remember exactly. I expected it right when they opened it up. Like they kind of waited a little bit.
Right, they did.
Because remember they say his heart rate's going like through the roof, which makes your heart rate go through the roof because he's getting geared up for a fight.
He's getting
charged up because he only comes out when he's got that ass to kick. And
ass
then he goes to
kick
sleep.
or ass to fuck. One of the two. That's the only time Godzilla ever comes out.
Oh yeah.
To breed or to be mean. One of the two.
But they end up following him to they end up following Godzilla to Antarctica.
Yep.
Right? Because they
Which
end up tracking
it is
him.
incredible to me how fast these humans travel.
Well, we don't know where they're at. They could have been. I mean,
But they're in Antarctica and
But
then
they
they're
had
in
that
fucking
aw-
Saudi
they had that-
Arabia.
they had
like,
that
they're just,
awesome
like, back and forth,
fucking,
back and forth. It's crazy.
like B-52 bomber or
Yeah, they
whatever.
did.
That was
Yeah.
huge, man.
And
they were
you know what?
walking
That's
around.
pretty fast. That's gonna move you at a. Fast
And they're walking
rate.
around that thing. That thing was like an aircraft carrier. They were walking
was.
around. They had like 50 rooms.
It was
in that.
giant. It was insane. They
plane at
landed
one point-
a helicopter inside the B-52 or
Yeah.
whatever the fuck it was. That's a big ass aircraft.
Again, unlimited funds.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
But
but
you have to if you're fighting Godzilla or you're fighting any of those monsters. You got to have an unlimited.
But
budget.
who else is in Antarctica?
Ooh.
Monster Zero, they call him, which is an awesome
Yes.
callback to the original Ghidorah movie.
King Ghidorah.
Is when he comes out, they call him Monster Zero because he comes
Yep.
from space originally. Spoiler
Right, of
alert.
course.
He comes and they say Monster Zero. What is Monster Zero? He's like Godzilla. He's an alpha. So
Yes.
so there's some kaiju, which is what they call the monsters. there's some monsters that are not alphas. They're
No,
kind of
they are
tame.
not. They're just-
One's like a mammoth.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Like a mammoth ape.
Yeah, it was
cool,
awesome.
though.
It
It
was
was really
really
cool.
cool. It
I
was
actually
really
liked
awesome,
that
yeah.
one. That was one of my favorite. And then there were like weird spider creatures, like with multiple legs.
But
That was
some
kinda
of
weird.
them are alphas, and some of them are destined to fight. It's been told for thousands of years because it is told that it's told through these stories that these two gods, there's like one's a bad force, one's good. They have to meet, right? And there has to be balance.
Right.
And
You
and
have to have
that's
balance.
and that's what Ghidorah is. He says he's the king, or that's what he thinks.
Right.
But he's not. He
Would
ain't
you
the
say
king.
he or they? Because there's 3 heads.
I know. I would
And they
say.
seem to, they
he's
seem
he.
to fight and bicker with one
Yeah.
another.
I
So,
think. I think it's him. I
Okay.
think it's he.
Right.
But in Antarctica, Jonah's team is also there
Mhm.
because he's going and he wants to. We find out later, but we'll just get into the whole thing is he is trying to systematically release these monsters
One at a time.
because he is looking to reset Earth.
Earth.
And that's what this-
where Vera Farmiga's character comes into play when she talks to her husband
Yeah.
and to her daughter, where she's like, hey, I'm trying to eliminate the population because we are overpopulated.
Well, you're getting way into it.
Yeah,
You're
well,
getting.
yeah,
Did
yeah.
you see that twist coming?
It felt very shallow and out of nowhere to me, but I don't care because I go to a Godzilla movie to watch fucking monsters fight. I don't give a fuck
I don't
about
agree.
the story.
I don't think it fell out of nowhere. I predicted it way earlier. As soon as they went to Antarctica and Jonah's team, Jonah is the eco-terrorist, Tywin
Yep,
Lannister.
right.
As soon as he starts killing everyone and they don't yell or anything, I thought, oh, that's very odd
Really?
for not to yell at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought they would have yelled.
So you were okay with that, the way that it shook out?
Oh yeah, because I predicted early. I mean, it was they built it in the very early. Where even if for once even to the very start, you start thinking, oh, she's getting a little dark.
Yeah.
Because Millie Bobby Brown, her daughter, ends up saying, I mean, she's been kind of crazy, and we find out that she's told her daughter everything.
Yeah, of course.
Which
yeah, there was a lot
yeah.
of foreshadowing into her turning.
yeah, but with Jonah's going and he's going to release all these, and we get the first glimpse that Ghidorah, who's stuck in ice, and it's just amazing when we first see him because it's epic. He's stuck in like mid fucking battle pose, and they're gonna release that big son
They
of a
are.
bitch, and it's not a good idea.
It's not pretty.
It is.
No, it's not a good idea. No.
But this is where the kind of underneath story is, because Godzilla has always been this. The original Godzilla, in the 1954 one, has always been a warning about nuclear bombs and the atom bomb. That's what it's always been a metaphor for. And this one is obviously a metaphor for, what's happening to the world with climate change and everything.
Right, of course.
So it's I like that they still kind of kept that underlying tone, like the original one.
Well, they did, and they even used atomic weaponry with Godzilla as far as like his powers too.
Yeah,
So like he
exactly.
was able to not enhance. What's the word I'm looking for?
Recharge,
Absorb.
yeah.
Recharge and absorb these nuclear.
But they do it where
powers.
it's now an updated problem to where now Ghidorah it's the metaphor. Ghidorah is the
Right,
metaphor.
yeah.
Even with Ghidorah, everywhere it goes, it's a tropical hurricane storm.
Mm-hmm.
With hurricanes being more of a popular thing now that the Earth is warming up, now that we're
Right,
getting more
right.
hurricanes. So it's literally, and everywhere it goes, it's a hurricane. So it's literally that metaphor for, the Earth dying. And it's but it's cool because it's updated, because it's not about nuclear, or it's not about atomic bombs anymore. Because in Japan in 1954, atomic bombs is what was on everyone's mind.
Well, of
because
course, yeah, that was
Nagasaki, and that was
less
not too
than
long
10
ago.
years away
And
from that.
fishermen and stuff were getting radiation poisoning from the thermonuclear bombs we were testing by
not
Japan.
just the fishermen either. It's
Yeah,
all
no, a
those
lot of
people
people,
in
yeah.
Hiroshima and all that. Yeah.
So that was a big thing, and that's what Godzilla has always been. It's always been, and they kind of always updated it.
Yeah.
The American version, which was the one that they just recut, So it came out in 1954. Then 1956, the American one came out, and they cut out all the atomic bomb stuff because you don't want you don't want to preaching anti-atomic bomb to Americans so they cut out all that and they added in a bunch of stuff.
The heavily revised American
and that's the one that
56.
I originally saw, which that's the one that kick-started Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like it was a moderate success in 1954, but when it came to America in 1956 and they re-edited it, that's when everyone started seeing it. And that's how it blew up. People in America have always loved Godzilla. I mean, just as much as people in Japan.
Oh, of course.
That's where it got
it's an iconic
yeah,
figure. Like Godzilla, you bring that up to any modern day American, 9 out of 10 of them will at least heard of Godzilla.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
How do you not? It's an iconic figure in American culture.
Yeah.
Along with Japanese culture as well.
And I've seen both of them. I've seen the edited one with Raymond Burr that they added in, and I've seen the 1954, and they're both very good. I mean, black and white, but they're both very different. I mean, they both have different underlying stories for sure.
Of course.
But Godzilla is always the bad guy in those first ones starting out. It wasn't until later, and then he gets a lot campy and kind of funny in the other ones, and it really because there's over 30 Godzilla movies.
That's crazy.
Over 30. Yeah.
That's so many.
Which is a ton, and it gets crazy. He's got a son in a couple of them. He's got a nephew in one, Godzuki, who's just a moron.
Oh, God. Not the smartest galactic dinosaur.
But anyway, so they're going, and they released Rodan, and he comes out, and it's an awesome shot, and he's a storm, right? That's literally everywhere he goes he's a storm.
Yeah, yellow lightning.
Thunder clouds, like clouds just pour. As soon as they broke that ice, clouds just started pouring in, and it's just a hurricane. I'm sure it probably got a little warmer in there.
Yeah, I would say so, especially in Mexico when he visited Mexico.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. But so they unleash him, and they follow Godzilla down to Antarctica, and Monarch, they land there, and for some unknown reason, the fucking colonel of the base is like in the drop team, Like, why would you have the person leading?
Yeah, no idea. No,
it's
not
like
wise.
having George Washington on the front lines. Like, I don't know.
It's like, that's our fucking president.
Yeah,
I don't need that guy.
So they have her, and
wise.
she's out, and she almost dies almost immediately. I think
Immediately, yeah.
She might.
In the helicopter, yeah.
Yeah. But they drop down because they're not getting a signal because Jonas has killed everyone down in the Antarctica, which they don't have. You would think they have much better security.
Not the tightest security.
No, they go in, they wipe everyone out, and they kill everyone, and
pretty fast too.
And
fast
they
and
free
seamlessly.
Monster Zero, which we don't know is Ghidorah yet. We just know he's Monster Zero, and the tie-in. And he ends up going crazy. The first shot we get is that lightning shot, which is the lightning going and just turning people into dust. I fucking
Fast.
Loved it. I loved the lightning. The lightning was unique. It was unique from Godzilla's fucking atomic blast or whatever you call it.
Yeah, and I liked the close-ups of Ghidorah.
It was
too.
cool looking,
the faces.
man. It was
they looked really good in the way that they were like munching at the ashes.
And you could tell he was bad. You know,
of course,
Yeah,
right away. Yeah, you could see the evil.
Yeah, and you can tell he's only just bent on destruction. And once they release him, they find out that he is an invasive species.
Yes.
So
that he just destroys worlds.
Yeah, exactly. And he comes and makes the world his own. He's like I don't know, like any invasive species. And he like a nutria or something. He just comes in and turns. So he's one of the ones that hasn't been there forever. So there's an unbalance when Ghidorah is out there. And these animals, they pretty much follow the leader. We see by Rodan.
Sure.
Rodan really follows anyone that's on top.
Anyone.
But they end up getting out, and Godzilla, who has just amazing timing, he ends up coming in clutch. And they end up, that's their first fight.
Because all the humans were about to die. Because the three-headed Ghidorah was about to incinerate all of them. And then, of course, Godzilla comes. And Godzilla has this knack for just coming in at the right fucking time.
And that shot of him
like 4
coming
times.
up and just with the air breathing, because it's so cold, you know. And
of course.
The air,
that was awesome.
Fucking
it was cool.
awesome. And him crushing the ice underneath his feet. Because it's so... Again, something I love is they're so big, and they're titans. Is when they move, is they form the earth around them.
Oh,
like when Rodan was flying, and just the wind was so strong, it was destroying the city.
It would disrupt like giant helicopters.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
planes.
Yeah,
it would disrupt anything in its sight.
So whenever they move,
massive.
they're literally like
forming the
forming the
earth.
Earth. Yeah, they're that big of Titan. I love that. They make, again, humans look nothing.
Obsolete.
They're absolutely
like
nothing.
they shouldn't even be there.
Yeah, like they said, they're parasites pretty much on the world is what they are. But so they end up getting in a fight. Godzilla gets his ass kicked.
He does.
He gets he shoots him once with the atomic blast. He misses, which is not good. You don't want to miss that shot.
Never miss.
Because Ghidorah's not going to miss. He's got 3 hits.
He's got 3 of them. Yeah. So you got 3 aimed at you. Chances are one of them's going to hit.
Absolutely, and they end up frying the shit out of Godzilla.
It was looking pretty grim for Godzilla. Most of this movie, I was like, how in the fuck is Godzilla going to win this fight? Because Ghidorah's no joke. Ghidorah can fuck shit up.
Ghidorah's a badass, and he puts up a great fight. He does. If Godzilla's king, Ghidorah's close second. I mean, he's right up there.
He's the VP, you know what I'm saying?
But, so they get into it. Ghidorah ends up flying off because Godzilla kind of gets his ass saved by the humans. Because the humans come in and start shooting Ghidorah. Ghidorah takes off. He flies. And again, with Ghidorah being in Antarctica, I think that was a metaphor for with the
climate change.
With the ice making and with the ice breaking and everything, and Ghidorah and releasing, because it released a storm. Once once he was out of the ice, it was all hell was being loose. But they find out that Ghidorah is headed to Mexico.
Yeah.
And that just also so happens to where that's where they think Emma is going also. So that's where Mark and them all go, because that's where they're looking for. Because they're looking for the orca.
Yeah.
Oh, and in Antarctica is when they find out, because it's a big titular moment we didn't even talk about, but Emma is the one who blows up and frees Ghidorah.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
Because they almost...
that big emotional scene.
Yeah.
With her and
Mark,
Millie Bobby Brown and all that.
Yeah, it was a great scene.
It was a good scene.
Which is the scenes, which makes me think of what were they talking about?
I don't know.
What part
did you not
I
was
like
expecting like don't mean to throw shade on the guy, but like the Rock cheesy dialogue where it's like, I am here to save.
Or I was expecting Jurassic World dialogue. That was bad. That was horribly cheesy. Yeah.
But the dialogue really wasn't that bad.
There was never a time where someone said something and be like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Maybe the only part was when
Farrah was about to die and she was like, oh.
That and maybe even the part where he's like, "Oh my god," and the guy was like, "Zilla." I thought stuff like that was kind of cheesy. Yeah. But it only happened once. I mean, they didn't keep doing.
And that's what I don't mind. Like if you do it once, it's fine because it's supposed to be Godzilla. You're supposed to have 1 or 2 cheesy fucking dialogue moments in Godzilla. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, oh my god, it's Godzilla.
Oh yeah.
Like that's cheesy, but it's supposed to be there, because it is an iconic movie that's been around for 70, 80 years.
So they find out that their next target is in Mexico, and they are contacted by Emma. Remember, Emma fucking patches in the video. Another very emotional scene, because Mark's freaking out because he doesn't want to believe that his wife is a terrorist. And Emma reveals that she was with Jonah all along, and she was being fueled to finish her research following the death of her son.
Yep.
She wants to figure out a way to control these monsters, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she also thinks with
it'll
Jonah
wipe out the population and be better for everyone else.
Well, not wipe out everyone, but wipe out enough.
Yeah.
And
it's a numbers game.
Yeah. And during their attack in San Francisco. So in Mexico, Jonah orders Emma to release Rodan. But she doesn't want to do it because Millie Bobby Brown is saying, her daughter, saying don't do it. Because now, and it's, again, another thing that I thought was the drama was kind of cool was this. Her daughter was going along with it all, obviously. I mean, it's not crazy to think that she would go along with it. I mean, her mom, who's a scientist, has been...
and then we get that big dramatic moment with her and her
talks about
father.
it, and she even kind of says, I've been training her in a way.
Yeah.
Which is something that any parent can do, and you're not going to think that your mom's a terrorist. And her mom...
Not at all.
And to be honest, her mom isn't crazy.
No,
she's not crazy at all. She might be
choice.
the most sane goddamn person in the world. She knows what is going on, and in this world, in this timeline, and even in our world, it is obvious that things are warming and getting bad or whatever. So people are not surprised, and that's the whole reason of why these Titans are waking up, because they gotta bring balance back.
Yeah.
And you got to kill about half of the world to do that.
At least, yeah. You got to wipe them out,
But eventually, she ends up releasing Rodan. Emma does. And that's kind of the moment where Millie Bobby Brown kind of severs
She had
and
enough.
she says,
Yeah, she said, okay, my mom's fucking crazy.
Because she wouldn't wait for the people to evacuate completely. Because they knew that Rodan...
Yeah, the people in Mexico.
And Rodan, who is worshipped as the fire god in Mexico, and he lives in this
out of the lava cave.
Yeah.
Yes. Or the lava, whatever.
And Rodan, who looks so goddamn good. He looks... Again, he looks like the old one. He looks like this giant lava fucking hawk. And I love how those wings are like constantly on fire.
Yeah.
And when he
The
flies,
lava
he
wings.
flies so low to earth, and he's so powerful that it just engulfs everything in flames. It's so goddamn
It is cool,
And
man.
his
It
birth
looked
is awesome
good.
too
It
when he
looked
pops
really
out
good,
of
yeah.
it's a giant fucking explosion. Yeah, it looks he looks great. And he's pissed. They always wake up
Not
pissed.
happy, no.
Cuz yeah, I don't think they want to be woken up very much. I mean, it's kind of a job for him, for sure. That's the original Rodan. So you see it, it's obviously
No
cheesy.
flames, no nothing.
No
It just
nothing.
looks like a giant pterodactyl.
But you can see how similar they kind of kept
They
it.
did
They made
keep
it
it very
modern,
similar.
but they
But put
it.
some
Yeah.
lava stripes on it, which I
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
actually.
They
Because
made
it
it-
makes it more mythology.
Yeah.
More of a titan beast. So I actually like that.
But I do like how they kept that original design too. Like it does, it looks like a pterodactyl. Yeah.
And I gotta say, it was pretty shocking to me to see Rotten Tomato how much they hated this movie, because when I went to go see this, I was like, this movie's gonna suck. Isn't that what you thought?
Yeah.
Because right now, currently, it's at 39%. I don't believe it warrants that.
Not at all.
I really don't.
Absolutely not. No.
I think 39.
And of course,
is
it's
really
not
rough.
Rotten Tomatoes. It's critics.
It is critics.
It's critics.
Because you look at the audience score, and the audience score is far different. 87%.
Yeah. And again, it was my whole thing. We talked about it off camera, but it's my belief that critics, you should go original content. Critics, you should listen to critics.
Yes.
Because that's when they're looking for story and stuff. But for genre films and films like this, they're not looking for those little subtle nods and those cameos and stuff like that. They're just basing it off of the story. Yeah, and that's
yeah.
So if you're going in there for the human drama of a monster film, you're gonna be disappointed.
Oh, of course, like anyone else would be if that's what you're going for. But no one goes into a movie like Godzilla and expects that.
Yeah. So Rodan, he awakes, and
He does.
of course they do the smart thing, which I thought smart. You got to aim Rodan at that storm. Because they see a giant storm is coming in, and they don't know that that's Ghidorah. They just think it's a giant fucking storm that's being crazy because the world's being crazy right now. But they say, yeah, man, we just got to point him, and that's probably the best thing they did. They pointed him at him, and they go at it. Of course, Ghidorah, or Rodan puts up a good fight at the start. Rodan's no pushover.
No, he's not.
He's a big fucking bird, and he's got big
Very
fucking
big.
talents.
And he fights Mothra, too, which is pretty damn impressive in its own.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But
It fights multiple monsters.
yeah, but they go at it, and he tears, and they fight for a little bit. He eventually comes out on top.
Right.
Ghidorah, he is king after all. And eventually, though, Godzilla pops up again, and he fights Rodan, or he fights he fights Godzilla, or he pops out in the ocean, and they end up fighting, and then the government calls, which we see earlier. The government's trying to shut down Monarch, which Monarch I don't think you can shut down.
No.
I think they're like the
They're an
Illuminati.
ancient civilization. You can't just shut down Monarch.
I think- I'm
it
pretty
doesn't
sure-
work
yeah.
that way in this alternative
But they're trying to
universe.
shut him down, and they have this bomb called the Oxygen Destroyer, which is a callback to the original Godzilla. That's the bomb they use to kill or try to kill Godzilla. Yeah.
Really?
They do the Oxygen Destroyer, and another callback was how they test it out in Godzilla is they shoot it at the ocean, and all the fish float up to the surface,
Yep.
like
And
they
that's
did
what
in this.
happened
Yeah.
in this. Yeah.
So him and
Within a 2-mile radius.
Yeah, exactly. Him and Ghidorah are going at and it kills everything in 2 mile radius.
Yeah.
So him and Ghidorah are going at it, and the bomb blows up, and it ends up just killing Godzilla.
Godzilla, yeah.
The
Ghidorah
one
flies
guy-
off, not a problem. He lost a head, but he's gonna grow that.
Only
back.
because Godzilla ripped that head
Yeah.
off too. Yeah,
Exactly.
Pretty good fight. And
Yeah.
Ghidorah was probably gonna. He was
Lose.
looked like he was
Yeah,
gonna
he
lose.
looked like on the wrong side of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but of course humans are always in there
They're always
right at the
fucking
wrong
shit up,
moment.
yeah.
And they shoot the bomb. It fucks Godzilla up. Actually fucks him up. Like, you got to keep this one in your back pocket because it actually worked.
Yeah, no, it actually did work. Godzilla was on the last wing.
And they're checking his
Heartbeat.
and
Yeah.
it's fading,
It's very faint.
fading, and it goes out. And finally, the whole thing is Mark Chandler. And Mark hates Godzilla the entire time because he killed his son. But it's kind of a depressing moment once they kill him. And it's a depressing moment
because
for
they were
Doctor.
like, "Oh, are you glad that Godzilla's dead now?" They're
Yeah.
kind of mocking him. I was like, "Hey, look, man, the
I
guy
get-
lost his son. I get it.
I forgot
if
about
anyone
that part.
fucking gets it, it's me, right?"
I forgot about that part,
you
but
lose
that
a
was
son.
hilarious when,
Yeah,
like,
They're
it was his fault. They're like,
"What?"
thanks a lot, Mark.
Thanks a lot. He's like, "Bro, I lost a fucking son to that."
Bro, I
He's a
didn't launch
lizard
the
piece of
bomb.
shit.
I didn't
Yeah.
make that goddamn bomb.
No.
Yeah, they're like, thanks
Give
a
me a
lot,
break,
Mark.
man. I lost a lot too. Fuck you, John, you dick.
Immediately, yeah, they immediately blame him, and
They blame him for everything. I'm like, dude,
they do, and it's
take it easy.
And you know who's very sad is Dr. Ishiro Serizawa, who's played by Kent Watanabe. He's very sad because that's like his son.
Yeah.
And he knows that that's their only chance.
Right.
Is Godzilla, and he's the only goddamn one that knows in every goddamn movie.
And no one else knows. No one. They're all
he is
fucking
adamant
oblivious.
about it, and
They're like, "Oh, Godzilla's a bad guy."
and he's so cool
Huh?
when he talks. He's just they even kind of make a joke about it, but he's like a fortune cookie. I don't want to be racist about it, and he's not Chinese. I don't think he's Chinese.
not. I don't think
he's
he is
Japanese.
either. I think he's Japanese. Yeah.
But you know, he's so wise, and he's so that the way he talks, you know, even in Inception, he always plays those kind of people.
He does.
Where
yeah.
he's giving advice, where he's like, and they have a very kind of cool moment, him and Mark do, where right before he kind of sacrifices himself, he gives him his journal and everything, and tells him that you need to know about these guys and whatnot. But so Godzilla, he's dead, gone.
He's dead. Yeah.
Ghidorah,
So
they
we
find out, well, why the fuck did it not work on Ghidorah? Because Ghidorah's not from here, you
No, he's
morons.
a fucking alien.
He traveled space, he doesn't need air.
No, he doesn't need shit. He doesn't need your modern day bullshit. No,
Oxygen
he's
fucking
a god.
destroyer is not going to do anything for him because he doesn't, I don't think he breathes oxygen.
No, he doesn't.
And he goes back up to the volcano, and then the storm starts coming, and we find out he can grow back heads. And it's cool because I like when that head was flopping
that was
around.
cool. Yeah. That was a good scene.
That was cool.
And that's the thing, like, with the CGI in this movie, man. They did
was
a
great.
really good job.
CGI was fucking great.
At
yeah.
not any time was I like, oh my God, this is stupid. All of it looked really good to me.
Oh, yeah.
And they spent, what, $179 million on this movie? But it looked it.
It looked
You know,
amazing. It looked
it
amazing.
did.
And
It
it
looked
has,
really
and it has
good.
to be, yeah.
And I heard some bitching online about some of the night scenes not being able to see the fighting, but I saw it just perfectly. I didn't see an issue with it whatsoever.
And
so I was very
just-
confused
and
at
I
what
loved,
people were
it
talking
looked
about.
so awesome with the storm. I mean, it's hard to explain just talking about it, but everywhere King Ghidorah coming and that tropical
And that-
storm and that lightning,
yeah.
and then there'd
and that
be
very yellow lightning.
and then there'd be
that came in. Yeah.
tornadoes in the background
Typhoons and all that shit
and it's
coming
just going
in,
and
yeah.
it became very dark, and it makes it like kind of closed off whenever you're fighting it because you're in the storm. You're always in the storm because you're always kind of fighting. And we find out that he's doing those storms because he's kind of terraforming the planet.
Exactly.
He's making the planet his. And that little bitch Rodan, he comes up.
Shit.
Just submiss. I mean, he goes right down to the mountain, his mountain, and he kind of bows down to Ghidorah,
He does.
and that's kind of when the king takes his throne,
He
the
does.
false king,
Yeah, right up on that lava cave thing.
and that's awesome. It is awesome when he's up there.
Yeah,
But
that was a great scene with the cross too.
Yeah.
Right there with Ghidorah. I was like, ooh, that's a good shot.
And then Ghidorah, Monster Zero, lets out an awesome, and I love how his scream is different from Godzilla's. Or Godzilla's kind of that. It's kind of deep, but Ghidorah's kind of a little more high pitched.
It is.
But it fucking wakes some guys up.
Yeah, but it's an alpha. It's an alpha.
Exactly. Yeah,
scream,
it's
which wakes up
call.
all the Titan monsters.
And it's all. I love that scene when
Yeah,
they're
it's
all
legit.
waking up and they're
It's
all
cool.
different and they're all kind of like.
Because the mammoth ape was awesome.
He was really cool.
We got to see a standalone of that. Are you fucking kidding me? That'd be a fun.
And I saw
film.
they released all 17 of their names too, and they all have kind of like crazy names.
Yeah.
One's named like Typhoon and stuff like that. And but yeah, we see a few of them. We get a lot of Kong. They talk about Kong a lot.
A lot. Because that's obviously setting up for next year,
Exactly,
which
yeah.
is Godzilla versus Kong.
Which is, I thought, was kind of shitty, knowing that obviously Godzilla was going to live, that obviously he's going to come back for Kong, which kind of made it a little less.
Yeah.
Knowing he was going to come back no matter what. But yeah, we get a lot of Kong. We get a lot of Skull Island talk. They're dropping it. But it's not in your face ever. They're dropping it barely back and forth. And they're also keep dropping, we don't talk about it a lot, but they keep dropping more and more information about the background of Monarch and how people have been, and they go through paintings, cave paintings and everything.
A lot
And it's awesome.
of cave
It's
paintings.
It's awesome. Yeah, a lot of background information from it. But everything's starting to wake up. That mammoth thing wakes up. I think he was from like Wyoming, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And we get like a spider thing that looks like.
Yeah, that was weird. Kind of like the thing from Cloverfield.
That's what it
Yeah.
reminded me of, like a Cloverfield or a Stephen King, like The Mist.
Oh,
Kind of where it had like
okay,
those
yeah,
tentacles, and
those-
it looked like it came from like another dimension or
Right.
something.
Yep.
That one is scary. And we get a Muto again, the same monster from 2014, which I guess there's a lot more of those guys.
So
So they're tearing shit up.
they are.
Even the fucking mammoth is destroying things, which it looks like a gentle giant to me. I mean, I don't think he's an apex.
No, I don't think so either. He seemed pretty submissive
Yeah,
both times.
that's the one I can see worshipping.
Oh, of
This
course,
guy's cool. He's laid
yeah,
back.
he's cool. He's
He's
laid
the
back,
one that I
he's
think
not trying to kill you, but he will.
He's the one that I think rose up and he was just like a mountain. Remember, there's a bunch of trees. There's a
yeah.
forest on
He's
him.
like, okay, I guess I'm here now.
But they're going crazy, and they find out that Ghidorah is making him go crazy because
Yeah.
Ghidorah's he wants a fresh start when it's his planet. He gets
'Cause
right
he
down
wants
to
to
business.
decimate a planet and then rebuild from what he wants.
Exactly, and
That's
use
why he's a giant storm.
and
Yeah.
do whatever he has to do, and then move on. I guess.
I know, which is so odd. That's your whole purpose of existence to.
You got to
completely
think though, man.
change the dynamics of a planet and then leave.
You got to think, man. What's going through his head is he is eons old.
Yeah.
Like when the universe, these monsters were probably when the universe began.
Right. Yep.
And he's from outer space, so he's been doing this for
Trillions of
yeah, for
years.
who knows how many planets he's gone through until he came to the planet that just happened to have
Godzilla.
the greatest
Yeah,
defender.
of course.
And
In
Godzilla
a
said,
monster alternative universe.
yeah, and Godzilla said, "This is my fucking planet.
goes,
You're in the
"Listen, man,
wrong
this is my
place,
turf, dog.
You picked the
Look, man,
one wrong
There's like
planet."
2 billion planets. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Leave this
You're not taking this
because
one.
I will fuck you.
No, yeah, he's not taking this one. But Ghidorah, he's waking them all up. He's telling them to go crazy, right? And they're going nuts. And
They're destroying cities
yeah,
at
and,
an alarming
and through
rate.
mythological texts, we get Dr. Eileen Chin, which plays kind of a big part. And she plays, she's got a little Easter egg that I'll get into later. But she reveals that the monster Zero is known as Ghidorah, and he's Godzilla's primary rival for
Yes.
apex predator. Because apex
Right.
predator, they can only be one apex.
No, there can only be one per planet. Only one.
And at this time, who's waking up? What beautiful bitch is coming out of that big cocoon?
Ooh, you're talking about
My
Mothra.
girl, my
yeah, she
girl.
ain't fucking around, dude. She's ready to go.
And we see that Dr. Chin has a twin sister. She's the doctor, and she's the one that's like with Mothra, right? She's the one kind of going through Mothra's pregnancy. She's holding her hand in the
She's
ER.
trying to make sure everything's
She's
good.
making her breathe, and
Yep.
she loves her. And they all love Mothra because Mothra, when she comes out, she's a god. And I love. And another thing we didn't talk about very much, but the score in this, they use some of the score from the original, but they update it, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
I loved it. It's very dramatic with we got the choir when they were fighting like the fates of
Right, the
like
fate of
Star
the- yeah,
Wars.
Star Wars,
I
yeah,
love
episode
that. So
one,
it's
yeah.
very dramatic and it's very epic. Like it should feel like if we were if it was a million years ago, that's the kind of music I think they'd be
Yeah.
singing about
Yeah.
once they sing about these gods.
Very archaic.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's but we find out and she flies and she's beautiful. Of course, she comes out and it's the Bermuda facility in the ocean, and Mothra emerges from or she flies to Bermuda facility in the ocean, where she is able to communicate to Godzilla, because we find out her and Godzilla, they got a connection going on.
They do.
And
they're lovers.
Yeah.
They are lovers.
Well, they have a symbiotic relationship, like some animals do. When they kind of explain it, because they kind of go, well, why would he have a
relations with them? Yeah.
And it's kind of explained how, like, other animals, like sharks, will have like sucker fishes that can feed off the bacteria or whatever, and that's, I think, she's kind of just like the pep talk man. She gets Godzilla pumped up, she gets him going.
If you know what
she's
I
in the
mean.
corner, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of talks about that, like they might fuck at one point.
Yeah, no, they do. They definitely do. That's what I'm hinting at. No, they definitely fuck. Or have.
I do, yeah. Or they're just maybe they're just very tight. Lover, I don't know. But
like best friends? Yeah, because Godzilla's digging that. Yeah, the best friend role. No, he's not. He's a fucking apex predator.
But we end up finding
boning
that
Mothra.
Godzilla, he's not dead. He's just resting.
He is.
He goes down to
at like Atlantis or wherever.
Yeah, he goes down, and we find out that how he travels so fast is the Hollow Earth theory.
Yeah.
Which conspiracy theories.
They're gonna love this. They're gonna say, "Hey, look, this is proof. Cash Grouse, this is fucking proof that the Hollow Earth theory is real."
But we find out that through a series of tunnels through the Hollow Earth, Godzilla is able to navigate the Earth in seconds. He's able to go to one place to another. It kind of explains how he's able to get to places so quickly, which explains his great timing, because he's always has great timing.
He's always has the most impeccable timing.
And he's resting in this ancient city that they figure out that's kind of cool. It's Atlantis. It's got all these statues built up towards him, and they even have this giant throne that he just kind of comes and lays in. It's pretty fucking awesome.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's an awesome throne.
It is a very cool throne.
And it's like radiating like pure radiation.
Pure.
Like center of the core, like you can't be
the
down
ancient
there.
People left that for a purpose.
Exactly, yeah, and it's just pouring, and he's just absorbing this radiation. And they say that it might take years, though,
to reboot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like recharging. He's got to plug in. But Mark, of course, says, "Hey, how many nukes you got?" And Monarch's like, "We got all the nukes.
We got plenty of nukes.
We're the fucking Illuminati. We got everything.
It all. Right."
And they're like, well, let's go charge this guy up, because they know that he absorbs radiation. That is what he is.
Yeah,
He's a
he is
walking
a radiation
atomic bomb.
Yes.
Just waiting to fucking go off. And they go into a submarine, and they figure out that it's up through this kind of tunnel they got to go into, and they got to go, and they have to drop the bomb off, and they have to detonate the bomb.
Right. And that's where Ken, Arish, what was his Dr. Hirosho?
His name is Ishiro
Yes.
Sawazawa.
Yes.
Which Ishiro is another Ishiro Honda was the original director of the 1954 Godzilla.
Oh, okay.
That's why they named him Ishiro Sawazawa, which is a callback too. Yeah. And it's so like radiated, and it's in the center core of the Earth, so nothing's really working down there. No. They try to send drones in there, and they all just get destroyed. So like someone's got to go in and detonate this bomb. And who better?
Who better than Dr.
This man has
Ishiro.
lived and died for this lizard, and I don't even think Godzilla is even aware. He's not appreciative.
He doesn't give a damn until that second where Ishiro reaches out and touches Godzilla. That was a good scene. That was a good moment.
Yeah.
It was.
It's
it was
so
strong.
Imagine being in Godzilla's you get nuked or you get bombed. You're almost dead. You got to go home. You got to sit in front of your fireplace. Then this little ant comes by, touches your face,
And
then drops a
nukes you.
grenade in your head.
But he did it because it would recharge him.
Oh, and
so it actually worked.
Fucking
Yeah,
recharges
it did.
him
It
like
was
the
It was a
Energizer.
brand new Godzilla. Good lord.
But it is a great moment
It
because
is.
he finally gets that moment because you know all he wanted to do was touch him.
Of course.
He's been tracking him since beginning of his life.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was born into whatever this crazy Monarch's Illuminati agency is. I think they just get you from birth.
No, of
And
course.
start-
Yeah,
'cause it's some
no.
crazy-
They have to. If it's an ancient organization,
Yeah.
you're born into it.
So he
Sorry, bud. That's the luck of the fucking draw. You know.
So he revives Godzilla and he wakes him up and he blows him up. They end up going
Kills
out of
himself
Atlantis.
in the process.
Of course he kills
Right.
himself. Yeah. Well, they knew there was no going back because one, the radiation was so strong
Mhm.
that it was going to kill you no matter what.
No matter what. Yeah.
And but they end up reviving him and they end up going to Boston. Right? Because you got to go to Boston.
Yeah. I'm shipping out to Boston.
But it's cool. Oh yeah, we could have played a little. Yeah.
Dropkick Murphys. Yeah.
But it's cool because it shows like it's showing around the world and the world's being fucked up. Like, and it's kind of again the whole thing with climate change where it shows DC waters are high.
High. Very
Tide
high.
is high.
Yeah.
And there's storms going off and everything is just
It's a
fucking
problem.
wrecked. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just like climate change happened overnight. Like if we all of a sudden
like
just
Florida
went into
getting
100
hit with
years.
hurricanes
yeah,
every
exactly,
year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's literally like the United States penis, or just sticks out of the ocean. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're gonna get hit every year.
And they're saying, and they're figuring out that Ghidorah is going to bring destructions, and the other Titans will bring something far worse than humans could ever bring on themselves, which we can do a lot of bad shit. So it's going to be
yeah.
pretty bad.
Yeah.
But but Jonah ignores her plans because she wants to turn back at this point, right? And Jonah says, "No, we're gonna." Well, his original plan was to release them one at a time, but that kind of blew up when
That
they all fucking
immediately,
had.
yeah.
And Jonah says this was the plan the whole time, and I like how he he's a bad guy, but he doesn't kill her when she says that she's gonna go
Yeah,
out.
but I almost didn't like that at the same time because he is a cold-blooded killer. He'll kill anyone.
Well, at this point
but then he
he's
didn't
gotten
kill
everything
her.
he wanted.
Yeah, that's true.
There's nothing she can do. He's gotten every.
But you should still kill her. It's
Why?
the principle. Just because
I don't think
you
so.
should kill her.
He's-
Just shoot her.
Well, really, his
You
whole
know.
thing is to preserve humankind in the world.
Yeah.
So really, he's fighting towards something. So I don't think he technically wants to kill people. He doesn't have to kill.
Oh.
And at this point, and it's a very interesting kind of turn because in this movie, the bad guy gets everything he wants, gets away scot-free.
Yeah.
He literally gets everything he wants.
Yes.
And I'm sure they did that because he'll be in the next one.
Of course.
But the only thing weird is at the end they kind of discuss how he's still trying to get monster DNA, which I don't. For what? Who's he gonna sell that to at the end of the world?
Exactly. When you have 1/4 of the
But it ends that the bad
population.
guy, he's in his bunker and he's fucking fine. He's gonna survive the entire
Yeah.
thing. I mean, he won really by all means. But yeah, so he ends up letting her go. But who steals the orca? Fucking Millie Bobby Brown, her daughter, the doctor's
Yep.
daughter.
She
ends up-
steals a little sonar thing. Yeah.
Ends up going to Fenway because Fenway's got the best goddamn speakers.
Great stadium, so I've heard.
One more monster, the green monster.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
But yeah, so she ends up taking the orca because she's gonna try to stop it. Because at this point, she thinks her mom's a little crazy.
Understandably.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She's done some bad shit for sure. And Ghidorah arrives in Boston because Ghidorah hears the orca also, right? And
Yep.
Ghidorah does not want because the animals start calming down once she starts playing it. When she starts playing the sound
But yeah,
of the
because
orca,
it's
right?
an alpha
yeah,
call.
exactly.
So all of them are focused on that.
But the bad thing is, it calls fucking Ghidorah.
it calls Ghidorah, and you don't want to.
and
fuck
you don't
with
want
that.
Ghidorah
No,
at
you
your
do
doorstep
not.
at any
No.
minute. And Ghidorah gets anywhere in about 20 seconds.
Right.
Because it's like 4 wing flaps, and he's like 8 continents over.
Yeah,
Because he's the
exactly.
size of a country.
And that was the only problem that I had. One of the few issues I had with this movie was when she did call the orca and she set it up and Ghidorah did show up to Fenway, that she was able to run away from the fireballs. realistically, that's not going to happen.
No, but I mean,
and I know it's a movie.
Yeah,
I
and in any
know,
Godzilla movie, the heroes always live miraculously. So I mean,
but you got to kill
course.
one or two of them. They did kill Sally Hawkins.
Yeah, they do kill
very
Sally.
gruesomely. I was
we
like,
didn't bring that
shit.
up. Fucking Ghidorah eats her, and it's
eats her.
sad because Ken Watanabe, Ishiro Sawazawa, he kind of liked her.
Yeah,
I think they
and
were
it was
kind of
out of
dating or
nowhere.
something.
Yeah,
and he
and
kind of
she
goes,
just-
oh.
yeah.
But he knew that's a sacrifice. You're in Monarch. You gotta, monsters come first. You gotta feed the monsters.
Yeah.
And what about the guy, we didn't talk about it, but the guy who ejects directly into
right
Rodan's
into the
mouth?
right into the mouth.
That would be
was
my
hilarious.
luck.
Ghidorah's mouth. Yeah, that was funny.
I'm getting the fuck
He's
out
like,
of
I'm
here.
out. Boop. Eject right into the mouth.
Right, just a quick snack
okay.
of Rodan. Just, all right. Yeah,
How
Rodan didn't even
fast-
see it coming.
Seriously, how fast do you die in a situation like that? You know, because like you're getting digested. So do you die from suffocation because the beast is so big
Hopefully.
that it just swallows you whole?
Maybe it's like a Sarlacc pit kind
I
of thing
would
where
al-
you're living in there.
Stop it! No,
And you
that's-
got like a
no,
you got like a
God, that's
village in there, and you're
terrible.
just burning
It's
alive.
terrible.
Well, yeah, I think that guy like shot down Rodan's mouth.
Exactly. Like he didn't even chew him or nothing.
know.
So it's like
Rodan didn't even see it coming. I think he choked on it. Like,
yeah, I think he did.
he
He
tried-
spits him back out. I'm alive.
that was so funny to me. But yeah, so they're all going to Fenway at this point. She's kind of calling everyone to
It's
Fenway.
a big game. You
Yeah.
got to be there. Yeah.
And Ghidorah arrives in Boston, and he attempts to destroy the orca. But Godzilla appears with the help of Monarch. 'Cause
Right. At the very instant where,
Yes.
of course, we have a few of these throughout the movie. But, of course, the moment where Millie Bobby Brown is about to get incinerated by Ghidorah,
Yeah,
Godzilla shows up.
he always has great timing. He
Miraculous.
always has great timing.
Great timing. Yes.
And yeah, he's fired up.
Saves
though.
the day.
But also, the humans are fighting with him this time
Mhm.
for once.
And
And
there's
this
a
is the first
bunch
time
of
they're kind
planes
of like
behind
they're teaming up.
Mhm.
Kind of, we get the first human Godzilla team up really, and they're fighting them, and it's working for a little bit, I guess you could
Yeah,
say.
I would say it's
looking,
not too bad.
It's looking all right, but oh, and then fucking yeah, so they're fighting, right, and they're fighting with Monarch, and Monarch insists, Mark leads Monarch. Oh, and then they land and they try to rescue Madison, right? And Madison escapes the city
Which
before Godzilla.
that was a weird part in the movie where I'm like, okay, look, you got fucking Godzilla. This whole movie, millions of people are fucking dying. Right?
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree.
mean, hundreds of thousands,
Yeah.
scores upon scores of people are dying.
Definitely.
But you give a fuck about one little girl.
Well, yeah. Well,
Sorry,
the dad.
But, well, right, but everyone else involved, it's like, roll my eyes. Like, fucking, she's dead. Realistically, she's fucking dead.
But really,
Move on.
the reason of them going to get her wasn't
Is
the
because
reason
of
to
the
get her.
orca.
They're getting the orca.
Right, of
So they
course,
let
yeah,
Mark,
yeah.
like, yeah, we're going to get your daughter.
Yeah, we'll
but
go
really,
get
we
your
don't give a
daughter.
fuck. I'm sure as soon as they got that orca, they're like, okay, we're getting the fuck
Yeah,
out
and
of here. We're
they
not waiting for your...
conveniently found the orca right away, too.
Yeah, and they're
Which,
not...
if you remember, Ghidorah stepped on the orca, so I don't know how the hell there's anything left of it.
I thought he did. I thought
It's a multi...
well, it is.
you know.
It is broke. I mean, they break. I thought he didn't.
If I remember,
Maybe-
Ghidorah stepped on that thing, and I was like, oh, fuck, that's done. 'Cause
Yeah.
that was a big thing. And then they're like, oh, it can work. We'll just hook up a few wires. I'm like, the fuck?
Well, they do get it, and it does
Yeah.
end up working. But
It
first, well, this is the big fight. This is the climax. So
Right.
Ghidorah and Godzilla are fighting. The score's it's getting crazy. There's
The fights are crazy, too.
The fights
It's
are
cool.
crazy.
It's awesome.
That 3 bite where it's that
Yeah,
quick
the
hit.
boom, boom,
that seemed
boom.
like a snake bite, right? That
Exactly.
quick snake
Yes.
bite. And I love that they kind of made him more snake than they
Mhm.
made. Because then Godzilla's he's more reptile, more alligator kind of dinosaur.
Yeah.
Where they made Ghidorah, he's much more snake type. And he's a snake.
Of course.
That's what he is. He's an
It's a
invasive
three-headed
species.
snake
He's like a
dragon
boa
thing.
in like Florida or something. They don't want him there. They're not to be.
No.
But anyway, so and then Godzilla's kind of fighting him, and who comes in? Fucking Rodan comes in, starts fucking up Godzilla. Who comes in to fight Rodan?
Ooh, Mothra.
Ya girl.
You
Ya
betcha.
powerful girl.
betcha.
Mothra comes in clutch. Oh, first Mothra comes in, starts shooting Rodan. Remember, she 3 quick hits and
not Rodan, but you mean Ghidorah.
Ghidorah.
Ghidorah,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, she
3 hits to the side of the skyscraper.
She Spider-Man's him.
She
yeah,
does.
and that stops Ghidorah for a little bit, but then fucking Rodan comes in, starts fucking up Mothra, and Rodan is kicking Mothra's ass for sure, and it's an awesome fight though. It's what you want to see.
Fucking awesome.
You want to see Mothra fight Rodan. You want to see Godzilla fight Ghidorah, and you want to see them all fight at one point.
Yeah, just watch it for an hour. It'd be awesome. Yeah, it never gets old.
But they're fighting, and Mothra's right about to die. Right, it's looking.
It's
bad.
Getting close. The wings are tattered. She
bad.
is tired.
Yeah,
it's very sad.
Because Rodan's like dragging Mothra through the city. Like Mothra, she's not a real fighter.
No,
she's more of a support character.
She's more of a lover.
She's a support character for sure.
She fights when she has to, but you know.
But that kitten's got claws.
It does.
And she brings out the fucking stinger, and I love that part.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was so awesome.
Right through the left chest of
Rodan.
Rodan, yeah.
And he falls into the fucking flames, and it's a big hit for Rodan for sure.
It was a good scene too.
It was,
worked. It was awesome. Yeah, it was cool.
And
it felt like a human version of a monster version of like a death scene in a movie. That's what I appreciated.
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
It was very humanistic the way that Duran was killed.
Well, if you thought that death was humanistic, then we get Mothra and Godzilla fighting Ghidorah. Ghidorah, which is such an awesome part, takes a bite out of a power station.
Yeah,
and that part where he lifts his wings up, and all the lightning is coming from all the tips of it. It was fucking amazing.
Awesome.
It was like
cool. It looked
biblical.
Really good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and they kind of dropped the biblical hints on throughout the movie. Even Rodan, when that part where Rodan is sitting on top of the volcano, they zoom out and the cross is right there and everything.
Right.
Oh, but I forgot to tell you what the Easter egg was with the 2 twins, the 2 Chin twins when Mothra is being born. We see her twin sisters there. Yeah. In the old Mothra movies, Mothra, because they're Japanese and they're always kind of weird, she was always accompanied by 2 fairy twins. Mothra is.
What do you mean by fairy twins?
They're mythical twins, like this.
Oh, okay.
They're kind of like everywhere Mothra goes, they go. They kind of are
spiritual guidance.
They are. They're in between. So, like, if the humans want to talk to Mothra, you got to go through these fairy twins.
Oh, okay.
And that was the whole thing where, because remember at one point they're like, she's talking about her family. We're like, yeah, she's a 3rd generation, because they come from this island that is for a million years they've worshipped Mothra. And Mothra, because I guess radioactive or whatever, there's a bunch of twins from this island, and that's where the kind of callback was. There's not fairy twins in this movie, but that was the kind of thing where they were twins,
right?
And that was kind of the callback, because in Mothra, she always had these little Asian women that came, and they always sang this little song before they came out. And it's very like
that's weird.
It's
weird. Very strange.
It is weird, but it's very much like that is very much what those old Godzilla films were. They're all kind of mystical and kind of stuff like that. But they always came out. They're always called something different in every single one. Yeah, but that was the callback to that little Asian little fairy twins that helps you communicate.
When was that in the movie?
When did it show the twins?
Yeah.
It showed it, I think, when they were going through, and she was discussing how she found out who Ghidorah was, and how he is the ancient, how he is his arch rival Godzilla, and she's like, because remember Mark, he kind of says something about, he's like, oh, you've been here for a while. He's like, oh, you're 2nd generation. She's like, no, I'm a 3rd.
Yeah. Okay.
And she goes, oh, look at all my
and
she shows her grandmother, and she shows her grandmother's grandmother, and they're all twins.
I see.
In every single one.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And every twin works for Monarch. So they're kind of, and that thing with her twin kind of being the first person to see her hatch and everything, which is kind of the whole thing there. But so Mothra ends up dying, very sad death.
Very
sadder
sad,
than any human death in this
movie.
But
a very, very sacrificial death.
Yeah.
And a very necessary death to really elevate the next level in Godzilla.
Because Godzilla's getting his ass kicked.
Yes, by
Ghidorah, and he's down for the count. It doesn't look good, but
it's not looking good for Godzilla.
Mothra comes, lays down, leaves the magic
Dust.
moth dust.
Yeah.
Not magic; it's really just radiation.
It is. It definitely is. Yeah, radiation.
But she does an awe. It's such a cool. And Mothra looks so cool. She's literally like an angel. She's glowing through the entire thing.
It's a bluish.
It's kind of hard to.
Yeah, definitely for sure.
But she comes
It
out.
looks very cool. The way that the wings work too. It's almost like.
And even every time you see her, it's the same reaction that people are having in the theater that people are having on screen. Because every time someone saw her, Mothra on screen, they would just be like jaw dropped.
Yeah.
And when you first see her in the theater, your jaw dropped. I mean, you're kind of stunned when she comes out. And she's like glowing for some reason. But so she does. She makes the ultimate sacrifice, and Godzilla gets supercharged. And this whole time, they're kind of tracking him, saying he's getting powered up. They're kind of figuring that out by his radiation levels. That's something.
And that he's real close to being an atomic bomb.
He's gonna go
exploding.
thermonuclear.
Yeah, he's gonna go thermo. Yeah.
And so they're doing this. He's about to blow up. They're trying to find the daughter. The daughter ends up going back to Boston, her house, because that's where they're from. Of course, goes home.
Of course, and that's the only house standing at the moment.
And Mark and Emma end up being reunited. They kind of make up from her being a terrorist.
She comes up in the Humvee.
The Humvee.
She's like, "Get in!" Yeah. She yells.
Arnold would have loved that.
He would have. He would have loved that. That would have been
me
a
if you want to live.
Yeah. Come with me if you want to live.
Yeah. But so they end up going, and they end up getting the orca back. They end up plugging in a couple wires. Very sturdy machinery.
Very fixing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and
good work on their part.
But Godzilla,
and this is when Godzilla is fighting Ghidorah.
And I love this how Godzilla literally kills Ghidorah by just walking at him menacingly. Because he's radiating so much of the power. He just starts walking at him. Yeah. And he just starts fucking burning because he can't even get near him. Yeah, it's so... it destroys everything.
And, because of Mothra, too. Because she gave him the extra power that Godzilla needed.
And so he's literally like a microwave. And it's so cool when he's walking past because all the buildings are melting. It's so much nuclear radiation pouring out, which sucks.
Tough for any human. Yeah. Hey, look. At the end of the day, millions of people died.
Yeah.
In the making of this film.
Well, they had to.
They have to.
But he is just
are
pouring out like you've never seen in any Godzilla movie. Yep. Like this is his most powerful, and he just starts walking towards Ghidorah slowly, and Ghidorah just starts fucking melting.
He can't handle it.
No.
Yeah, no.
Ghidorah tries. He tries to get closer and closer, and then Godzilla just keeps flexing on him, and he just keeps pouring out.
He keeps melting him.
And eventually, he just fucking melts him. And that's how he dies.
It's rough.
And he ends up going...
and then he ends up eating the head. And then he's
which was awesome, because it made it look like he was going to come up alive. Like, he's still like, how the fuck is he still alive? But,
and he blew him through, right? Into ashes. Oh,
that was awesome. And that's the way, because... You gotta kill him. He's just gonna keep growing, I think.
Keep growing back.
So you gotta really just erase that guy.
Did you stay for the after credits scene? I had
didn't
no
because
idea.
I was late to work, so I had to
same. Well, because you saw me right after the movie. I couldn't go. Or no, never mind. Godzilla was at 3:40.
Yeah,
but on Saturday. But
so
I didn't stay because I had no fucking idea they were gonna do an after credits scene. So I didn't stay. So I have no idea what happened. I hope Ghidorah's not still alive because I'd.
No! It just shows kind of the. I've looked it up. It just kind of shows the aftermath of.
Fucking San Francisco
and it shows everything, but it shows it. It kind of shows it, and it makes it clear that it's not like a post-apocalyptic world.
Oh, okay.
At this point, so like civilian after this attack, kind of it all kind of goes back because balance is restored. So they're not like Mad Maxing it now, because of all this destruction. They're kind of just
hilarious
rebuilding.
How the monsters always meet up in the United States. They never go to Russia, China, Japan, anywhere else in the world. It's always destroying the United States, which is funny.
But they do destroy a lot of other places in this.
Yeah,
because there's monsters in every other country.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, that's true.
But the big
but
ones.
The story plot.
Because there's only 5 in America, right? Because at the very end, once Godzilla, he's fucking pumped.
Yeah, only 5 of them show up.
He makes a big roar, but he's got some fans,
and all of them bow.
Exactly, and I love that, like fucking the king of the jungle. He's
the king of the monsters.
He's right at the rightful place. But Mark end up finding their kid. They end up finding the orca and whatnot, and they end up all living, right?
Right.
And yeah, and that's pretty much it. Oh, Rodan and the other Titans, yeah, they ended up coming to Godzilla and making
And
that
bowing.
bow.
Yeah.
So that's what the after credits show. It showed like a bunch of news articles. I think it might have showed more Kong Island. Because at one point because Kong goes crazy, and they say he destroyed Skull Island, which there wasn't a lot on Skull Island.
No, there wasn't much, so I don't know what he's destroying.
But he destroyed him when all the monsters were going crazy and destroying. Because I don't think he can get off. I don't know. He seems like he's so big he could walk off Skull Island. At
you
this
would
point.
think, right?
Yeah. But they kind of
He's
say
massive.
that they had him. But yeah, how is he gonna fight
Godzilla in the next movie?
And
I don't know.
who's
unless
the bad
Godzilla
guy? Who's
travels
the good
to,
guy?
to I don't know. It's kind of weird. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, I really can't
Weirdly
either.
enough, for next year.
I'm very excited
curious to see who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, what's gonna happen. Like,
But they talk about the Titans start converging on Skull Island. They start heading to Skull Island for some
Right.
reason. After the planet starts being healed and whatever, and then it starts showing paintings at the very end, and it's paintings of Godzilla and Kong
in the cave.
because they've been
Yes.
apparently they've
They've been going at
building
it for
up also,
tens of
yeah.
thousands of years.
Yeah, because they're the. Yeah, because they're the real fucking. I mean, because
God.
that's the real two apex predators. Because they're the real. I mean, they're not invasive species. They were both born there. So
Yep.
I mean, they've been fighting for a long time. And then it shows at the very end, shows that a fisherman finds Ghidorah's head, and Jonah ends up buying it. Yeah, because he's still looking for that monster DNA.
Right,
we find
right.
out.
Of course.
But that's kind of an ending, and it shows a bunch of little clips, and yeah, they're gearing up for Kong versus Godzilla.
You excited for it?
I'm very excited. I
Okay.
fucking love this movie.
Yeah.
I like this movie a lot.
I'm
It's
very
so much
curious
fun.
to see your review. What did you grade it? Go ahead and give me your synopsis. What do you think?
Yeah, like I said, I loved it. I mean, it's a great start to the summer. That's the kind of summer movie you want to see, and I will go back and see it again because it was awesome. The fight scenes were amazing. You got to go see this in a big theater, in a loud theater, because it's gonna blow you away. And like I said, if you like Godzilla, which I've seen a lot of those old films, they used to play them on TV all the time, and there's so many of them, and the quality is so up and down. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
so up and down.
Yes.
At one point, it became like real campy, Godzilla, he was having a son, and he was dancing at one point and doing all kinds.
It got a little.
And it got real
ridiculous.
campy, and they had so many callbacks, and like I said, this movie had a little bit of everything, and I did not go in for it for the drama of the humans, so I was not upset when the drama wasn't that great, and I wasn't very depressed by it or anything. I thought it was great. I gave it a solid B. Yes,
Really?
a solid B.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
I would recommend this.
What did you think about the 1998 Godzilla?
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about it.
Did you like it? Did you not? I'm very curious to see.
That
what
was a movie
you-
as a kid I loved.
Of course.
That
as
was
a kid. Of
that
course,
was
'cause
my
we were 4 or
first-
5 years old when that came out in '98.
And I had it on VHS. I remember the cover of the tape exactly, giant Godzilla head. But in retrospect, it's horrible. I mean, but that really
Right,
showed
right.
you how much Americans love Godzilla. Is when they brought it over here and they made that 1990, because they were shopping that movie for a very long time. So they really wanted to make a big studio Godzilla film for a long time, and they thought that was going to be the one. That was going to be big. They had Matthew Broderick in it, who was very famous at the time, 1998.
Huge. He was a huge.
They had a ton of Simpsons people in it for some reason, and
Strange.
but it ended up, it ended up not being very good. I like this movie a lot more, but I used to love that movie. I did. And I used to think it was so fucking cool how modern they made Godzilla. Now I hate the design. I hate it. But they made a good cartoon based off that movie after that 1998 movie came out. That was better than the movie that I used to watch as a kid a lot.
Really?
Yeah. It was pretty cool. It was Godzilla fighting other giant monsters.
Right.
Which was kind of this.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. Essentially. Yeah.
But what do you think about it, Mason?
Dude, I was surprised because obviously, I like to go on YouTube. I like to watch reviews. I like to hear what people have to say about Godzilla, about different films. And a lot of people were like, I don't like it. But I disagree with a lot of the critics out there. I enjoyed this movie. When you go and watch a giant monster film, you're able to you're able to disassociate yourself from the belief system of a really awesome, authentic story because you're looking at massive monsters who fucking destroy the planet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm able to be
They are gods.
Okay,
They are gods. That's what they are.
I don't need the most fucking authentic story in the world to move this story plot along. I just need enough to where we can get the monsters to fight and to have a good time. This is to me a summer blockbuster where you go and watch giant monsters fight. And dude, that is exactly what we got in this movie.
Absolutely, yeah.
We got monsters fighting. It was fucking awesome. When I saw reviews before I went and actually watched the movie myself, a lot of people said that the dialogue was awful.
I didn't think
it was awful at all.
I even
There
laughed
were
at
a
some
few-
parts.
Yeah,
I even laughed at
exactly,
some parts.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be a little campy because it's fucking Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's astronomical. It's fucking ridiculous. Godzilla, the concept of Godzilla is crazy. But because it's crazy, we were able to just let it go and enjoy the movie in the process. You know what I'm saying? Because it is Godzilla. It is ridiculous.
And I don't want to make it sound to where it was so ridiculous to where like we just liked it because that ridiculous. I really do think it was a good movie. I think it holds up.
That was the point I'm getting to. Is
Yeah.
like legitimately, like it was a good movie.
The design of the
Like, I enjoyed
monsters,
it.
the score,
Yes.
the cinematography, just the way they made the monsters so big and just like
The fight scenes were
like
fucking
if you would
awesome,
see them,
too.
it's like you'd see them, and if you were in ancient civilizations, you would drop to your knees and worship these things because they move
undoubtedly. Yeah.
the earth around them.
Exactly.
And I love that design, and I love the world building. That at one point the world was so radiated that they made these giant fucking creatures out of fucking
But
nowhere.
it also balanced the whole human race and stuff too.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
was like all these giant Titan monsters balanced the life force of the entire planet
Yeah, we needed them as much
as they needed us.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's symbiotic
Oh yeah.
in many ways.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, I actually like this movie. And you know what's really funny, Cash, is this is the first time in a while that me and you have had the exact same review. But I gave it a solid B. Like,
Yeah.
legitimately, like, I would recommend this movie if you're looking for a fun summer blockbuster where there is story, there is enough depth where you're like, okay, I understand the story plot. But you get to watch these fucking incredible giant monsters, really well done.
And they look great.
They look great. It's
Yeah.
not like cheap CGI. It's
Never
the
through
money
this
was
I
spent
thought,
for
oh, that
this.
looks cheesy.
Exactly.
It's one of
Never.
those where every scene is the same quality.
Exactly.
Which it doesn't ever dip down, which
No,
a lot of
never.
movies do. Yeah. It's
and
always
I
the same quality.
heard a lot of bitching online about, oh, it's too dark. Never was I like, oh, I can't watch this. I can't watch this action. It looked fine to me. So I don't know what people were bitching about as it was too dark. I have astigmatism in my eyes. So if anyone has a problem with it, it would be me. I watched the whole thing just fine. So I don't understand what people were bitching about. I like this movie.
first
I gave
one
it a
was in the
solid
dark
B.
a lot.
Yeah, it was. And you have to. I mean, if you're doing CGI and that much CGI, you kind of have to do it.
There's not that much darkness in this. I
No,
can't
there
even. I think the only dark part is the Antarctica fight.
Yes.
And there's so much lighting
And
lighting
then,
of the screen.
and then the city fight in Massachusetts, but that was light enough with all the city lights that
But
you
even
could
that,
see the
I
whole
think it
fucking
was in
thing.
the middle of the day. I just think there's so much clouds. It was like an orange filter.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it wasn't really at night, I don't think.
It
There was a
wasn't
lot
terrible.
glowing.
No, you could see the whole thing. That's what I was very confused.
It wasn't like the original Blade Runner where everything was so dark.
Exactly.
You
That
couldn't see
you're like,
anything.
huh? What's going on here? Yeah.
Yeah, but I was so pumped up for this movie. And then when I heard, I was even going to message you because I've been talking about this movie for a long time.
You
but-
have. We've
Well,
been
and then when
hyping
I
this
heard
one
that it
up.
got bad reviews, this is just one that I really do disagree with critics on.
So
And
do
usually
I.
I can see
Overall,
from their-
I definitely disagree.
yeah, so
Yeah.
do I. I think this movie is worth it, and it deserves. It made 130 million worldwide. I hope it keeps.
Well, and that's the thing you and I were talking about off air is critics are too analytical with these types of movies. They have to go genre based, which is what you brought up. You know, it's where for these movies like Godzilla, it's like it's an action packed monster movie. So you have to take that into account with fans.
Yeah.
You can't just look at a storyline, because obviously the storyline is not going to be Oscar worthy or Academy Award winning performance. No, it's not. Like the movie revolves around Godzilla, giant Titan monsters. That's what the story is going to be about.
Any kaiju movie or monster movie or
Yeah.
anything where they're giants, when you focus too much on the human element, that is when those movies end up start getting bad.
Exactly. That's the issue.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the issue. We talked about it before, but Transformers
Oh, God.
is a great fucking example of focusing
yeah,
way.
probably the picture perfect example.
I don't want to see the
I don't give a
family
fuck about
drama
humans.
of
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg when there's
No.
giant robots fighting in the background.
Exactly. They're alien robots.
Don't make Transformers and a Transformers movie the background characters.
Yeah.
Make Godzilla the main character, and he
Totally
is the
agree.
main character in this
Yep.
for sure. And him and Mothra have great. We didn't get to see them fuck, unfortunately, because everyone was wondering how it was going to
tough.
work.
We did get to see like a 5-second snippet of two monsters fucking. I don't know which two they were, but
But I'm
curious.
very interested in seeing where they're going to go after this and what the world's going to look like with all these monsters running around now.
yeah, there's quite a few.
I know. Well, except they're all herded by the big man himself, Godzilla.
So what is he gonna do? He's calling the shots now. He's the big man.
But
on
he's
campus.
balanced, that's what kind of the credits showed, was that he's all about the balance. He's probably gonna go back to his little lair. He's got a nice fireplace there. He's gonna huddle
I was
up.
gonna say it's kind of blown up now with that atomic bomb going
Yeah,
off. He really doesn't have a city anymore.
There's still probably
Kinda
radiation. He
sad.
could just goes lays down in the rubble.
It's rough.
But now he's got fucking humans. He can go lay on a mountain and let
That's
humans
true.
actually
Yeah.
worship him. We can just keep bringing him nuclear bombs.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see. Him and Kong are gonna have a fucking war.
They
They're
will.
gonna go to war because Kong is pissed, and he's got opposable thumbs.
He's
He can
not
grab
happy.
He can get a gun. He can get a giant Kong gun. He can grab things. But I don't see how he's gonna hold up to Godzilla right now.
No.
And he's controlling all those other monsters too. It's odd because Godzilla's the good guy in these ones, where in Godzilla he's always the bad guy in almost
So
every
what is
other.
Kong gonna be the bad guy?
I don't know, because Kong was kind of the good guy
In Kong Skull Island,
yeah.
right? Because Samuel L. Jackson and his shit dick people were bad guys.
There's
Yeah.
probably gonna be some kind of twist where they got to buddy up. It becomes a buddy cop movie.
Hey, Godzilla and Kong.
But
Just
no,
being
I hope
friends.
it is just straight up them just going at it. 'Cause
That'd be
someone's got to
dope.
be the alpha,
It'd be
right?
sick.
Maybe he'll just sit in the original Kong versus Godzilla. Godzilla gets his ass kicked, and Kong just ends up at the very end just swimming back to Skull Island. And that's the last shot of
Right.
some guy in a giant monkey suit swimming out to the ocean. Like,
That's
all
the way
right,
it
see you
ends.
later,
See
Kong.
you
And he's just
later.
like breaststroke. He's doing like what a great swimmer for an ape.
It's
Like,
pretty
what?
good, yeah.
I didn't know
'Cause
they
the majority
swam.
of times, like if a chimpanzee actually falls
They
in
can't
water,
swim, yeah,
they
they can't swim at all, but
because they're
he's-
so fucking dense.
Yeah.
They sink.
But he's a really good swimmer. In Kong versus Godzilla, he's a really good
really
swimmer.
an Olympic swimmer.
It's pretty funny.
Yes.
It is
Yeah.
pretty funny. But yeah, he's just doing like the backstroke back to Skull Island. They're like, all right,
See you
thanks,
later.
Kong. Thanks a
you
lot.
next
We're
year.
just rebuild. Yeah, but they end up going at it in that movie for sure.
Yeah.
And it's a good man. It's so cool that we're getting that though. That we're getting.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
It's crazy. We're
It'll be
getting a
really
Godzilla,
fun.
an actual like blockbuster, and an actual giant studio movie of Godzilla fighting King Kong.
I know.
Two completely different studios. That was random when they brought it together in the first place. But man, and how big they have gotten.
They have over the years. They have gotten big.
They are.
They definitely have.
Who you gonna be rooting for?
I like them both.
Me
I don't know.
too.
It'll be tough.
I love Godzilla, but I love Kong.
I love
too.
Kong too.
Kong's
yeah,
got
I
a
love
lot of
King
spirit.
Kong. Yeah.
His face is very. I know it's very human. It's a face you want to love.
And I have a very special connection with King Kong because I was introduced to him many a times because I had season passes to Universal Studios. So I said hi to King Kong
Yeah.
in the old Universal Studios tour
You do, yeah.
many a times. And I said, hey, Kong, your breath smells like banana. Because every time you went in there, it smelled
Banana
like
and
bananas.
dick.
It did. Banana and dick. He took some big dick. But
Yeah. Kong was a lot smaller then too.
He was, yeah.
He's a big boy now,
Yeah,
man. He's a big boy. And Godzilla.
I miss that Universal Studios tour. Have you ever gone on that with Kong, the giant Kong figure they have
the
in there?
studio tour, the most famous ride.
It's fucking
yeah,
so
of
much
course
fun.
I've gone.
It's so cool.
I went on it like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still there.
He's still there. He's still kicking.
That's the Kong from like Kong 99
Yeah.
or whatever, the
Yep.
remake. That
Yeah,
they
the
made.
remake. Yeah, the terrible one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Because he was all claymation. Godzilla was the first movie to ever do. They called it something different, but it's the first one to ever have a guy in a suit and then make a small city and then have him destroy the city.
Right.
That was the first movie ever that they did that. Because Kong in 1933 was just clay.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Claymation. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
just claymation. Then it became a guy in a suit, and it was just two guys beating the shit out of each other. I think they just really just fought each other.
Yeah.
In giant costumes.
What did you think about Peter Jackson's King Kong? Did you?
I
like
like
it?
that King Kong.
I liked it.
I like
lot.
that King Kong.
I thought it
too,
was
yeah.
really good. I love the
People are really wishy-washy about that. It being 3 hours is a thing.
Yeah, 3 hours and 7 minutes.
And Jack Black being in
is
it, but I thought
wild.
I liked it.
I didn't think Jack Black did a bad job though.
I don't think so either.
Naomi Watts was in it.
Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody, yeah.
The pianist.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Andy Serkis, obviously, but
A fucking what's his name? God damn it. The guy who's in Godzilla, who plays Mark, is in the original or the Peter Jackson's King Kong. Kyle Chandler. He plays the actor. Remember the actor that comes in and he's acting like he's a big badass in King Kong?
you're right, Bruce Baxter.
Yeah.
He was in fucking King Kong, the 2005
Is that weird?
one. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
So he's got a
he was.
connection too.
Wow, that's crazy. I forgot about that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. He plays a big part. He actually lives through the entire
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
He did a good job in that part, playing the arrogant, like, 1950s kind of like, I don't know, just the guy that was in every movie that he
yeah.
put in everything. Because remember, they ended up having to trick him to going into the fucking island or
Yep.
whatever.
It was
And he ends up running away, but he ends up coming back at the very end and actually being kind of a hero. But yeah, he's in that.
That was a good movie. I got to watch that again. I haven't seen that in years.
I saw that. I remember seeing that on
I saw it
or
in
the
movie
day after
theaters.
Christmas because it came out like December 23rd or something
Mhm.
like that. Like
Yeah.
right when it might have came out December 25th actually.
Man, how much how much money did this movie make? I'm curious.
The one with Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
Isn't it just called?
It's just called King Kong. That's it.
Yeah.
2005.
Man, that was a while ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but
And
Yeah, I don't
Andy
get any
Serkis plays
information.
Kong.
he does. Yep.
He's the go-to.
Classic.
He's the go-to. It made $550 million.
Whew, not bad.
That's a good amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, for a 3-hour movie though, you'd expect it to make. Oh, the budget was 208.
It was very expensive to make.
Yeah, so I could.
But Kong looked great.
It
in
did. It
Kong
looked fucking
amazing
for
in it.
2005 too. Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh,
It looked
yeah.
fantastic.
There were some scary scenes in that too when they
There
drop
are.
down and all the insects are eating
Mhm.
everyone.
Yeah, that was very nerve wracking. Yeah,
The big centipedes. I fucking hate centipedes.
I gotta watch that movie again because I remember that being pretty good in 2005, and I don't know if that was because I was a kid. I was only 11.
It is probably the
But-
best Kong with how he acts like an actual gorilla in it. Because I remember one scene I always remember from it is when he kills the T-Rexes and he snaps one of their jaws and he's like
Yes, that was
playing with the
awesome.
jaw after like he doesn't like he's playing with like a puppet. But yeah, that was good. We've a lot of Kong. There's been but not as many Kong movies as there's been Godzilla movies.
No.
But yeah, so you're not taking any bets on who's gonna win that one.
You know, I can't take the over under on anything. But what I will take, what did we bet on in the movie news podcast?
We bet
70% on what movie?
Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah, no, I'm gonna win that
No, you're-
$5 bet.
I don't
yes,
think you
I
are.
am. That is not hitting over 70%. There's no fucking way. I'm so glad you bet me because I cannot wait to take that $5
You're
and buy like
moron.
a 5-layer burrito at Taco Bell or some shit. So,
You can buy
thank
5.
for
I
your
think you buy
free
5.
lunch.
I think you can buy 25 layers of burrito with $5 at Taco Bell. But no, it's gonna make that for sure. And I'm a cynic, and I usually have a pretty. You thought the last Fast and Furious did really bad.
I thought it was terrible. I thought it was like in the 20s, and
Yeah.
it ended up being like what?
70 something.
Yeah.
Like 76
I
or
was
something.
like, dude,
yeah.
get the fuck out of here.
So you
There's
don't
no
even
way.
know what you're saying, man.
Those critics suck. They don't know what they're fucking talking about. You want to come to talk about a good movie? Come talk to Mason Knight. He knows.
Shut up. You loved Aladdin.
I didn't love Aladdin. There was a lot of shit wrong with that. It was a very Broadway movie. And I told you, the middle of the breakthrough song with Jafar, I'm like, what the fuck is this shit?
You know what
We're in the middle of the climax, and they break into a song about how she's not going to stay silent.
You know what
I'm
my
like,
wild card is with Hobbs and Shaw's? I'm
Add to that
pretty
anyway.
sure the director of Bumblebee is directing Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, shit. So it's not going to be bad then.
Oh, whoa, yeah.
But
now
still,
you're
I still take. No. I don't back out on the bet.
Oh, I know you're
never
not. Oh, I know
back
you're
out on
fucking
a
not. 'Cause
bet.
I'd get my
I
$5.
never. As a matter of fact, I got the cash right now, dog. I'm
the
gonna
bets
lay it
are-
down. I'm gonna just lay it down on this counter for 2 months until it goes.
Yeah,
out.
everyone listening, remember that, and we will bring it up because we will rub it in your face.
Oh
I
yeah,
will
we'll
rub
see.
it in your face.
We should start doing that at least once a month. Have a little bet on an over/under for critics review because you would have won on Aladdin.
Well, how about this?
'Cause remember, I voted on
Let's
Aladdin.
make a poll and see on our social media and see what people think
about Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw
Over/under on 70?
70%.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a fair one. Yeah, let's do a poll on
And let's
that.
see-
I'm very curious to see how many people think.
People love that bullshit. People are gonna go wild.
Oh yeah.
You know it's gonna make $1.28 billion.
It probably will, unfortunately, and probably 600 million of that will be overseas.
Yeah. Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
Because those guys get boners for fast cars over there.
Fast cars and lost CGI.
Right, and no drugs or sex, which China hates.
Yeah, man.
If there's
China's
anything China
if
hates,
Russia-
it's drugs and just sex in
If
general.
Russia had a problem with Rocket Man, I can't imagine what China's edit's gonna look like.
You know what? Good for Elton John and them standing up to them and saying, you know what? You don't need to censor that. Either take our movie or don't take it. But
That's
go
a big
fuck
deal.
yourself.
That is a big
It is a
deal
big deal.
when a movie is.
It's a bio.
Movies are there.
It's a biography
Yeah, I
about
know.
Elton John, who was gay.
But they're there to make
Obviously.
money. So for them to do that,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
that's a big
It's
deal.
a big
to
move,
stand
but
there.
it's a move.
Because they are going to lose out, and especially with them only making $25 million this weekend.
Yeah.
So they are going to lose out on some money. But
I think it'll do good second weekend.
hopefully there's some Oscars. I'm coming with it. Hopefully someone gets an Oscar nomination.
Yeah, I
If
think
fucking
the only
what's
one,
his name won the Oscar for.
Taron Egerton is the only guy I think that can get nominated.
Oh yeah, there's
realistically.
no one else in that.
Even supporting roles like the mom.
But if what's his name won?
Felicity-
What's his name? Rami Malek won the Oscar for
did.
literally just
for a Bohemian Rhapsody.
for literally just
Yeah.
doing the exact same thing that Freddie Mercury
Exactly.
did, just playing him exactly. So how could not? And that got nominated for a few Oscars, and that didn't get great reviews either.
No, it
Bohemian
didn't.
Rhapsody.
No.
Yeah. All right. That was Godzilla.
It
Gorilla,
was. Yes.
King of the Monsters. Let us know what you thought. Mason, close it out for us.
All right. Well, you guys know. Follow us on YouTube. Type in Have You Seen It or the Have You Seen It podcast. Go to channel. We should be the Angry Popcorn Guy. Click there, subscribe, like our videos, leave us a review. You guys know how it is. Type in Twitter, Seen It Podcast. Cash is on Twitter. That's just Cash. Instagram, Have You Seen It? Facebook, Have You Seen It Podcast. You guys know the deal. Find fun memes and all that shit on Facebook. I think that's it. So, we're on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher, everywhere you can find podcasts. So, yeah, that's about it. Got anything else?
No, I don't.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.